Ebola first was discovered in 1976 right next to the Ebola River. The first outbreak occurred in 1976 in Zaire and Sudan, causing nearly 400 deaths. Ebola also caused a lot of an estimated loss of $2.2 billion in Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone in 2015. Ebola contains RNA, envelope, glycoprotein, spikes, and nucleocapsids. So how does Ebola replicate? First, the virus enters through the mucous membranes or breaks in skin. Second, the Ebola uses its envelope to be let in through the cell membrane during endocytosis. Then, Ebola virus uses transcription to replicate, and finally, Ebola undergoes the lytic cycle. And here's a visual depiction of how Ebola replicates. So, what are the symptoms of Ebola? Symptoms can appear from 2 to 21 days following contact. Symptoms are fever, headache, muscle, joint pain, fatigue, sore throat, loss of appetite, vomiting, and unexplained hemorrhaging. The virus attacks monocytes, macrophages, and dendritic cells. So remember, you should always try to protect yourself, your family, and your community by knowing the early symptoms of Ebola. And here's a visual image of how some patients of Ebola looks. So incubation time. It takes about 2 to 21 days to feel the symptoms. Is it fatal? So it is deadly, but patients with a strong immunity system and good clinical care can survive it. Vaccines. The only approved Ebola vaccine is the ERVEBO, which is also known as the Ebola Zaire vaccine. So how is it transmitted? It was initially transmitted to humans from an animal, but then it started to transfer from human to human. Let's talk about carriers. The virus is carried in open wounds and bodily fluids like blood and mucus. So these are the 3 places where it first spread. In Guinea, it was the first Ebola outbreak, nearly 4,000 cases and 3,000 deaths. In Liberia, there were about 11,000 total cases and only 60% survived. In Sierra Leone, 14,000 cases from 2014 to 2016, and it has the most number of cases. Here are some facts about Ebola. If someone is exposed to Ebola and they don't feel symptoms for 21 days, then they do not have it. The disease cannot spread through air or casual contact, only through direct contact with bodily fluids. Researchers have found that the first people who were exposed to Ebola got it from bats. West Africa is known for having the most Ebola cases. And finally, only 2 people in America got Ebola and neither of them died. That's all for today. Thank you for listening and remember to keep learning.